Once upon a time, in an eastern rural community called Abamsi, lived a very wealthy family called the Onduwe family. The Onduwe family was the richest in Abamsi. Their big house stood in the middle of the town like a landmark. It was the biggest and the most beautiful in the whole of Abamsi. The Onduwe family consists of their mother, Ndidi Onduwe, Adana, the first daughter and first child of the family, Jidenna, the first son and second child of the family, Munachi, the third child, Nyoma, the fourth child, and Uju, the last. That is, 3 females and 2 male. Their father is late. He died many years ago. Now, all the children of the family except Adana is married. Nyoma and Uju got married to wealthy men as well from different nearby villages, and being women, they moved and lived with their husbands. However, Jidenna and Munachi, married as well, lived with their wives in the family house because they are men, and of course, the house was big with more than enough rooms. But like I mentioned earlier, Adana, who isn't just only the eldest child of the family, but the eldest daughter, is unmarried. She is 8 years older than Jidenna and is in her mid-40s. This sparked gossip in Abamsi. Why is the eldest daughter of such a reputable family not married when all her younger ones, both male and female, are? The villagers whispered. But Adana seemed not to be bothered, or if she was, she did a good job of not showing it. Now, Adana wasn't just an ordinary first daughter. Her voice and her presence carried weight in the family. To all her siblings, Adana was like the family's boss. She was like the one who replaced their father after his death. Nothing happened in the house and in the family without Adana's approval. No one dared make any decision about the family's business and finances without first consulting Adana and getting an okay from her. Not even Jidenna, the first son, who according to tradition ought to be in charge. But the whole family was okay with it. All the 4 siblings had no issues about it. Not even Jidenna himself. It had been that way since they all became adults. And even while their late father had been alive, even when he was alive, always sought Adana's opinion and approval before taking any major decisions about the family and their business. Now, this was not because Adana was the most intelligent or smartest. It was just because the Onwuduwe family believed that whatever Adana was in support of would turn out well. That when she is happy, the family prospers. So, whatever Adana approves of stays, whatever she frowns at disappears. And this belief has been working for them for years. So even Jide, the first son, was cool with it. He and Munachi are the ones who manage the family's business and finances. All Adana does is stay at home and they go to her when important decisions are required. Everyone enjoys the wealth their grandfather and father had left for them to inherit, but all with Adana's approval and her permission. And Adana isn't a wicked person or wicked sister. She never used the fact that the whole family knows about her impact to ride or trample on her siblings. She never used her power and influence to control or manipulate them. She never stopped them from enjoying the money and wealth whenever they want to. And this even makes all her siblings to respect and honor her the more. To them, Adana was the demigod of the family. And that is how they have all lived for years. Even the spouses of Adana's siblings came to see this and learned to respect Adana also. For example, Inyama and Uju's husbands, whose businesses and finances tripled when they married into the family. It was not like they were doing so bad themselves before they were rich, but they became more prosperous soon after they married from the Onwuduwe family. So, they also believe that if every member of the Onwuduwe are prospering by just respecting and honoring the first daughter of the family, and they too have become prosperous by getting married for the family, then they saw no reason why they shouldn't accord Adana the respect her family gives to her also. Same thing for Jide and Munashi's wives as well. They saw that their husbands respects and held Adana highly, and peace reigns in the family. So, they saw no reason why they shouldn't honor and respect their husband's older sister as well. Moreover, she's such a sweet and loving person and treats us like her sisters, Jide and Munachi's wives said to themselves. Meanwhile, the silent gossip and whispers in the village continued. Many said it is because of their family's wealth. That is why Adana doesn't want to get married. And that is why she doesn't want to leave her father's house, because she would have to submit to her husband's authority if she marries. And she does not want to become submissive to any man. Another group of the villagers gossiped that Adana must only be caused not to be married. But no one was bold enough to say it openly. They only whispered a secret, and Adana, though she does not know the exact words that were being said, she knew that they gossip about her. She could tell from the way people stare at her whenever she walked in the community, and how they instantly become uneasy and stop talking whenever they see her. Still, she tried not to give it attention because everything was okay and fine in the Onwuduwe family and mansion. And for many years, peace reigned until a woman called Nkolika entered the family. Jide's wife died during childbirth. Both mother and baby did not survive. Their marriage had only been 15 months old before her death. So 3 years later, when Jide decided to marry again, it was Nkolika he married. Immediately Nkoli entered into the family. She too noticed how everyone in the family honors Adana, how they revered her. Nkoli became bitter. She had entered into the family and had nursed the sweet thoughts that since she was marrying the first son of the family, the first son of the almighty Onwuduwe family in Abamsi, that she would definitely be the madam herself. But she came and saw that instead of her husband Jidena, it was Adana who make all the paramount decision in the family, and everyone bowed to her. Nkoli became paranoid by the excessive respect given to Adana, believing it should go to her husband, who is the first son of the family. But Jide is the first son now. Why is he allowing his sister to be in charge of affairs instead of him to take charge himself? Nkolika wondered. One night, she spoke to Jidena about it. It is not like I am saying that you shouldn't respect your older sister, but you should be the one in charge of everything your father left behind. You should make decisions without consulting your sister. She shouldn't even be aware of the decisions you make. You are the first son, the opera of this family, she told Jide. Jide told her that he understands her point, but that in their own family it is different. That it does not matter if he is the first son, that they have chosen to allow Adana oversee everything about their family, that they have chosen to honor her and that it works for them. He asked Nkoli to blend in and honor Adana just as everyone in the family does. This is absolute nonsense, Nkoli replied instead. How can you sit by and allow your sister take over your birthright? For someone that should even be married and be in her husband's house taking care of her own children, she said. And so, from that time, Nkoli made up her mind that she would not be Adana's slave like the rest of the family and will not accord her any respect, for she terms the way everyone respects Adana as slavery. She started slowly by making silent, indirect comments. One evening, everyone was outside relaxing in the compound after having dinner. Then Nkoli whispered calmly, but loud enough for everyone to hear. She said, imagine a woman acting like a goddess over her own siblings and controlling them. May our gods protect us from evil siblings so. When she was asked why she said such and what did she mean by that statement, she lied and said that she only thought about a story that her friend had told her earlier that day of a woman in another village who uses charm to control her siblings and make her siblings bow to her and does everything she says. That evening, everyone in the family didn't see the cunningness in her statement and her lie. But Jide suspects she was lying and that she may be indirectly referring to Adana because she had only complained about pains in the house a few nights ago. But he chose to ignore her, so his family wouldn't suspect. But Nkoli did not stop there. She continued with her indirect comments to spite Adana. She would say things like, some people think they can steal positions and turn everyone into their slave, but very soon they will be exposed. Or she would say, thank the gods I am in my husband's house too, and my brothers are men in their father's house, even though they are not rich. Other times, she would say, why do some women like to take over positions that are meant for the men in the family? Now our gods help us so. And whenever she was asked what she meant by the comments she was making, she would come up with a convincing lie to cover up. But soon, even a child, if it constantly heard all Nkoli says and has been in the family, would be able to tell that Nkoli's statements were directed at Adana. One afternoon, she said another one again. Even if at this my young age I had not been married and without children, I would visit all the dibias and medicine men in the world instead of staying comfortable at my father's house and inconveniencing my brothers, she said. Munachi, when he heard it, could not keep calm and could not overlook it any longer. He stood up and spoke with anger. Nkoli, we have been hearing all the statements you have been making in this house in the past weeks now. I hope you are not in any way referring to our Ada, because if you are, we will not take that from you. Munachi barked. Ha, Ada? I did not mention anybody's name. Oh. Did you hear me call Ada's name? I was just talking on my own, no, Nkoli said, trying to deny again as usual. But Munachi knew she was lying as usual. Then stop all this your unwise talk, he shouted. Then he turned to Jide, who was sitting quietly. Brother Jide, I don't mean to disrespect you, but please talk to your wife, he told Jide. Jide, who knew that Munachi was right and knew what his wife had been trying to do all the while, held Nkoli's hand that afternoon and tried to nudge her to follow him into their room so he would talk to her about it. But Nkoli rather removed her hands from his and yelled, "So, you cannot defend me, eh?" Nkoli snapped. "You cannot defend me. Your younger brother is disrespecting me right in your presence and you cannot even say anything. Oh, I see it is not only your older sister who controls you, even your younger brother does." Then she turned and faced the rest of the family. Yes, Munachi is right. I will not deny it any longer. Yes, I was referring to Adaye. But am I wrong? Isn't it the truth I have been saying? Is Adaye not supposed to be in her husband's house? Instead, she is here, dragging right with my husband, who is the Okpara, the first son of this family, she said. Everyone went silent. Jide tried to shush her and stop her, but she wouldn't listen. Munachi was so angry that he had almost almost wanted to eat her, but for the respect he had for Jide and for their mother Ndidi, his wife Amara, and Adana herself, who held him back. And from that day, Nkoli no longer hid her displeasure and dislike for Adana. She openly insults Adana. She would clap her hands and say, "Go and marry, oh, go and marry. Marry and leave my husband to enjoy his father's house and his right as the first son of this family." She openly disrespected Adana. If the family calls for a meeting and Adana is about to speak, she would ease and walk out. Indeed, her mother-in-law tried to caution her and talk senses into her one afternoon, but instead, Nkoli replied her, "Ha, Mama, it is not fair. What you are doing to your sons is not fair. So, you are okay allowing your daughter to rule over everything and everyone while you have two able sons." "No, Mama, I will not listen to you," she told her mother-in-law. She also tried to instigate Munashi's wife, Amara, to join her in a fight against Adana. "See, Amara, what I am doing is for the good of not just my husband, but for your husband as well. Our husbands are the men, the sons of this family. Only men should be in charge of everything, not a woman, even if she is the first child. It is our tradition. It is how things ought to be. So, join me in this fight to kick that woman out," she said to Amara. But Amara did not indulge her and told her plainly that she would not join or support her. Nkoli was angry and called Amara a weakling like their husbands. She told herself that she would continue fighting alone if that is what it takes. One day, Nkoli went out to buy something and left her toddler son, who was sleeping behind, at home. Few minutes later, the baby woke up and started crying when he didn't see his mother. Adana heard his cry and went into Nkoli and Jide's room to carry him. Nkoli returned and saw Adana carrying a child. She snatched him immediately from Adana and said, "Oh, so you like to carry baby, eh? If you want to carry baby, why not get married and have your own child?" "Nonsense," she said, and walked to her room with her child. For the first time since Nkoli had been insulting her, Adana shed tears that day. Nkoli's words, insult, and attitude towards Adana grew worse each new day. Nothing anybody said could make her stop. Ndidi and Jide reported her to her parents, who came to advise her to stop, but she didn't listen to them. Jide had even lost his patience twice and beat her up, but that did not stop her. Rather, that even made her worse, and she accused Adana of using juju to bewitch Jide and everyone. Jide even tried to end their marriage, but Nkoli refused to go. She told Jide that he is stuck with her and cannot chase her away. Nkoli was indeed a troublemaker. One day, when she saw that despite all the problems she had caused, everyone was beginning to ignore her and still respects and revere Adana as always, she decided to do something extreme to disgrace Adana, and one that may possibly make Adana leave the Onwuduwe family house. "I won't sit by and allow a mere woman like me take over my husband's birthright," Nkoli said to herself. So, she hired a man, an hoodlum from a neighboring village. She paid him to come to the house and sleep with Adana to cause Adana to face disgrace and shame. For days, Nkoli laid out her plan carefully, and on the day the plan was carried out was the day Jidena and Munachi were away to expect a new palm oil mill in another village they had acquired. Nkoli knew they would be away that day because she had heard them talk about it for days. That same day was the monthly meeting of the Mbamzi women. Only married women or maybe those who are widows attend. So, Amara and Ndidi were also not at home but at the meeting that day. That morning, Nkoli faked being sick so she would not attend the meeting herself. Then she watched Adana carefully from her own room for hours, and when she saw an opportunity, she sneaked to drug Adana's meal. Adana was having a plate of abacha and fish, but had stood up to go get more drinking water. Nkoli saw it as an opportunity and quickly sneaked in to drug the meal. The medicine caused Adana to fall unconscious. When Nkoli saw she was now unconscious, she called in the man she had hired to come rape Adana. And unfortunately, her plan succeeded. The man slept with Adana while she's unconscious and right there at the living room. Nkoli asked him to wait behind so the other family members would come in to see Adana with a man in a compromising position and right in the living room. Nkoli really does want to disgrace and shame Adana. And it happened so. Just barely 30 minutes after the man had slept with Adana and still lay beside her half naked, Ndidi and Amara arrived. Nkoli had rushed out from the back door and out of the compound and pretended to have been away as well. Immediately Ndidi walked in with Amara and saw Adana naked with a man. She screamed, collapsed and passed out. As Amara, who was also now frantic, tried to resuscitate Ndidi, Jidena and Munachi arrived as well and witnessed the sight. "Oh, Ada, what have you done? You have doomed us all," Jide and Munachi screamed together when they also saw the sight. Nkoli, who had been hiding at the back of the compound, now entered, pretending to be shocked as well. Years ago, a man called Amandi Oundui was very poor and lived in abject poverty with his family. He worked day and night in people's farm to feed his family, but the pay was always small. Amandi had 4 children, 3 sons and a daughter. Because of poverty and malnutrition, his second son had died first. Next was his daughter. She fell sick and Amandi and his wife sought for money to treat her, but no one was willing to borrow them money. Everyone they went to gave them excuses until his daughter died as well. The same thing happened to his first son. Amandi lost 3 children because he had no money to feed them well and get treatment for them when they became sick. So, when his last son and only surviving child, Obiora, got sick as well, Amandi told himself that he could not afford to lose another child and his only child again. So, he sought a dibia, a native doctor. He asked the native doctor to help him and make him very wealthy. The native doctor did. Amandi became very wealthy. Strange men from faraway land came looking for him and gave him bags and bags of gold. In return, the native doctor told Amandi that his deity, Okuku, has requested that from that time forth, every first female born in his lineage will be dedicated to Okuku as his bride. She must not be married and she must not lay with any man, and no man must lay with her. If they do not do as Okuku have requested, they would not only lose their entire wealth, but all the other children of the family will experience doom. Some will be plagued with incurable sickness, while some will die. Amandi is Adana, Jide, Munachi, and their sister's grandfather, and Amandi's only son, Obiora, who had survived then, is their father. Amandi had not thought highly of the Okuku deity's request and warning until when after his granddaughter Adana was born and she wasn't taken to the deity to be officially presented to as the deity's bride. After Adana was born, Ndidi and her husband Obiora had 3 children before Jide, 2 sons and a daughter, but all 3 of them died one after the other until Adana was taken to the Okuku deity. So that is why Adana is not married and cannot marry or lay with any man. And that is why the rest of her siblings respect and revere her. They were told of the story, and it was their family's secrets. As long as they keep honoring and revering Adana, the Onwunduwe family will keep being prosperous, and the other children will not be plagued with sickness and death. It was the sacrifice Adana herself had to carry and the cost she had had to endure. Not like she was happy staying unmarried and being the decision maker of the family. But now that Nkoli had stirred up troubling waters that she knows nothing about, what would happen? Well, when Achi revealed this light day, since Amara kept asking him what doom it is they were talking about, he believed there was nothing more to hide, since they may all end up dying. Nkoli became scared when she heard it. "Ewo!" she shouted. "What have I done?" And at that moment, different workers from the Onwunduwe's different factories rushed in one after the other to say that the factories had caught fire. The oil mill factory, the wood factory, the local bread factory, and many others, all burned to ash. And meanwhile, the man who had committed the act had run away when Jude and Munashe arrived. And even Adana was not awake, but not fully, because she still felt dizzy and was still trying to know what had happened. Then Nkoli herself suddenly slumped and developed stroke at that very instant. And Lily became bedridden after that, and so was Nkoli. Even their sons, Munachi and Judena's son, started convulsing as well, and it continued for days. Well, after 12 days of lamentation in the Onwuduwe's house, and the talks that now spread all over Ambamzi and beyond about the Onwuduwe family, a business friend of Jude from Aba, who got to hear of the news as well, came to pay them a visit. He came with a reverend father, a priest, who told them about Jesus and God's ultimate power that is more powerful than any deity at all. They were all led to accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior and were prayed for. And immediately, the siege of the deity over them was broken. Everyone became well again, except Nkoli. The stroke remained partially. She could get up and move gently, but her hand and legs remained deformed, and so was her mouth and her speech, still impaired, even though she confesses Christ as her Lord and Savior. Her soul was redeemed and saved, but her physical body suffered. I guess some punishments and consequences are there. It was wrong for Nkoli to arrange for Adana to be raped and be defiled no matter what. It was not in her place to fight for the birthright of her husband. Besides, she was doing so for her own greed and not because she cared about Jude. Well, the Onwuduwe's lost the word from the Okuku deity, but 2 years later again, they rebuilt wealth naturally with their own hands. Though they were not extravagantly rich as they were before, but they were still doing okay. The ultimate was that they were now free from the shackles of the deity, and Adana was free to marry and be with any man. But Adana, even though she was now free, decided to dedicate the rest of her life to serve God. If I could sacrifice my life to serve a deity forcefully and against my will, then why not serve the one true God who redeemed I and my family and had given me free will, she said. So, she became a nun the rest of her life. The end.
There is a woman I love so much. Her name is Mary.
Hi, lovelies. I hope you enjoyed the story. Did you learn anything from it? Please share it with me in the comment section. I would love to know. Thanks for watching. I will see you in my next story. Bye.